Welcome back to our online class. Today we will continue with our study on Islam, and today is day 4. Please go ahead and read the narratives that are found in your Google Classroom material, or you could find it in the description. Now, even though I say it's found in the description, but please take note, the description on YouTube allows only 5,000 characters, so sometimes you may not find the entire narrative in the description box. So please go ahead and read from the Google Classroom. Question number 1. Why did the Hijri calendar make such an impact on the lives of the Muslim? Why such a big deal that even till today Muslims follow this calendar and they have made this as their Muslim Islamic calendar? Why? Well, here's the thing. Arabs are tribal people. They live with their clan members for support and protection. To leave or detach from a clan is never heard of until the Muslims in Mecca left their clan and settled in Medina. And because of this, the calendar or this migration became such a big thing for the Arabs, because they split their family and they left behind their family and went to a new place and settled themselves. This was something unheard of, and therefore Muslims till today think of this act as such a big thing that they kept counting till today. And that is what we call the Hijri calendar. The Hijri calendar is based on the migration that happened in 622 CE when the Muslims left Mecca and settled down in Medina. Question number 2. What were the risks involved if the Muslims stayed in Mecca? List few of the points. Now, I could come up with at least 4 points, and that is, number 1, they will be banned from the society, meaning they will boycott them as they did in the past. They will not buy or sell any goods with them, and therefore they would be out of penny, out of money, out of food. Secondly, they would be persecuted or even killed. Yes, even a lot of slaves were persecuted or even killed because their lives did not matter. And number 3, the Meccans vowed to kill Muhammad. They saw Muhammad as their greatest threat, that Muhammad was dividing their society, their city, their family, and so they made a vow to kill Muhammad. And if so that happens, number 4, Islam would be totally destroyed. There won't be any more Islam. And because of this, the Muslims decided that it is not safe to remain in Mecca anymore. And so they decided to leave Mecca in 622 CE. They left Mecca and settled down in Medina. At that time, it was known as Yathrib. Today, we know it as Medina. Briefly explain how the Muslim community settled down in Medina or Yathrib. We will take a look at the logistics wise, all right? How are these Muslims who came from Mecca will now be assimilated into the Medina family or the city? Here's how they will do it. This was the logistic that was given by the Prophet. Number 1, the Muslims should come with just few belongings. Not bring their entire home from Mecca. No, just few very, very essential belongings. Number 2, Medina to adopt the Muslims. The Medina city was open to adopt the Muslims. And number 3, one Medina family took one Muslim family. So each family in Medina, who were not Muslims by the way, took one Muslim family to live with them. And number 4, then each Muslim family shared their faith with the host family. So as the Muslim lived with the host family in Medina, they shared their faith and their teachings. And guess what? Slowly but surely, Medina became the first Muslim city. So remember, it wasn't Mecca, but it was Medina that became the first Muslim city. Question number 4. What was the new social structure that the Prophet established? So now that as they settled down in Medina, how did things move on in Medina? Well, these are some of the rules and regulations that the Prophet set up so that they could live peacefully in Medina. Number 1, everyone had their rights to practice their faith. Number 2, he sent treaties of friendship to neighboring tribes. He tried to make friendship with the neighboring tribes around Medina. Number 3, he developed new moral and ethical code based on the revelations that he was receiving from Allah via Gabriel. So he came up with new moral code. And then he became the head of the tribal group. So now, since he is the one who is coming up with all the revelations, he is the one who is giving all these new rules. So therefore, he became so-called the head of the tribal groups. Everyone must respect his word. And of course, no one was forced to convert to Islam. No one was forced. If you want to, if you think that this religion makes good sense, this gives you more peace and makes you humble, join. If not, remain who you are. Moving on to question number 5. Briefly explain the 3 battles the Prophet fought against Mecca. Include the reason or the place, strategy used, and of course the outcome of each battle. Alright, so these are the 3 famous battles. A lot of people think that these are the only 3 battles that the Prophet fought. Well, you can look at the description below. I have a link to a document where you can see during the time of the Prophet, he fought dozens of war. Muslim till today fought more than 580 battles or wars. So war became so-called a part of their life. Now here we have the 3 famous war: Badr, Uhud, and Trench. Let's take a look at a little more detail about these wars. Badr. It was fought on an oasis of Badr. The area, the name is called Badr. Around 313 amateur soldiers from the Muslims joined. They actually never thought that they would win because there were only 300 of them. The Muslims won. The second battle was the Battle of Uhud, which was fought on a hill of Uhud. Now this time the Muslims decided to attack from the back. And guess what happened? Somehow it failed. A lot of Muslim soldiers betrayed the Prophet. They left the battlefield and Prophet was almost knocked down, almost killed. The outcome was Mecca won. So 1 for the Muslims, 1 for the Mecca. Now we come to the third war, the Battle of the Trench. Now this could be called the first trench war that we know of. They dug a trench or like a tunnel, and this was actually an idea given by one of the Muslims. And so they dug this so-called trench around the city of Medina when they heard, and as they were about to cross over the trench, the Muslims had surprise attack waiting from the trenches. And of course, the Muslims won this time. So 2 for the Muslims, 1 for the Mecca, which made the Meccans to lose, and finally they had to agree on a peace treaty called the Hudaybiyah. Alright, you will find that in our next paragraph, the Treaty of Hudaybiyah. explain what was the treaty or the agreement of Hudaybiyah. As you know, the three wars that we just talked about in our past question, the three wars, the Battle of Badr, the Battle of Uhud, and the Battle of the Trench. Now, after this three battle, when the Meccans actually lost, they were not willing to accept their defeat. In 629 CE, the Prophet, with 1,000 Muslim unarmed men wearing the traditional white robe, they marched down to Mecca. And when the Mecca people realized and heard that they were coming, they got ready to attack the Muslims. But the Prophet took the people through the mountain, through the hill, into an area where it is forbidden to go to war. And they all stood there. And when the Mecca people realized that they could not stop them, that they have come to the most sacred place, they said, all right, fine. Let's make a treaty, a peace treaty. So it was called the Hudaybiyah Treaty. This treaty allowed free pass for the Muslims to come to Mecca for pilgrimage. Free pass. They would not be stopped. They could come anytime to Mecca. And this treaty lasted for the next 10 years. For the next 10 years, there was a peace between Mecca and the Muslims. All right, my last question, which is something more or less, I want you to think and tell me your 100% opinion, and that is, why do you think Islam had a rough starting? Do you think this may have an effect on Islam and its teachings? Take a look at the question. Think of the persecutions that the Muslims went through. Think of the migration, the impact of the migration, the Hijri in 622. Think of the wars that the Muslims had to fight. Would this define the thoughts and the teachings in Islam? What are your opinions? Please give me few sentences. Thank you.